Hey guys, what's going on? McMole2 here, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing an in-depth review for Gar Saxon. He is the new Imperial leader that was just released in the game about a week or two ago. This is my first time doing an in-depth character review like this, so please be a little gentle with the criticism, but definitely let me know what you guys think, what I can improve for next time. But yeah, this is my own character. I got him up to gear 10 for this review. I now have him at gear 11, but all this footage is back when he was at gear 10, so keep that in mind. But yeah, before we go ahead and go any further, let's go ahead and take a look at his kit, and we will go from... Gar Saxon is a dark side character, Empire, and he has a tank role class. He has one basic, one special ability, one leadership ability with a Zeta upgrade, and a unique. His basic is called On the Hunt, a mega upgrade, deals physical damage to the target enemy with a 70% chance to inflict speed down for 2 turns. If the target already had speed down, reduce Gar Saxon's cooldowns by 1. His special is called Calculated Ambush. It is also an Omega upgrade, deals physical damage to all enemies, dealing double damage to enemies with less than 50% turn meter. Enemies that had at least 50% turn meter lose 30% turn meter. His leadership ability is called Mandalorian Retaliation. Without the Zeta upgrade, Empire allies gain 50% counter chance and 40% defense. The Zeta upgrade adds that whenever an Empire ally uses a basic attack, they recover 5% health. His unique is called Viceroy's Vengeance, Omega upgrade for level 8. Whenever another ally attacks during an enemy turn, i.e. they counter, and that's any ally, not just Empire allies, Gar Saxon has a 100% chance to assist. For his stats overall, I have him at gear 10 right now. He's a strength-based class character, of course, because he's a tank. And right now, as you can see, I've got him some decent protection on him. He's sitting at 30,000 right now. I have him 168 speed, so he's still a little slow. Don't have him for crit damage, and that's because he has such a low critical chance. You see I've modded a little bit, but he's still not going to get better returns from crit damage than he will for offense. I added some potency to him and some tenacity as well. That way he can't get that way to avoid the stuns, so he can assist a little bit more, and the potency so he can help stick the speed down from whenever he uses his basic. He's got decent armor at 30.59% right now. Basic 2% dodge rating, special you don't have to worry about, resistance not too much. But the really interesting to note here is his armor penetrations at 97. That puts him in the top 10 of all characters with armor penetration. So that means when he's going to hit, he's going to ignore a good chunk of the character's armor. He's going to be doing about 8 to 9% of the armor that he's going to be ignoring. So that's a really good amount considering you have your old Bennett sits at about 400 armor. And he's the highest character of all. Fives is a little bit closer behind him. But beyond those two, there's not many characters that have high amounts of armor. So the armor penetration for him there is going to be very, very good. As you can see, for his mods, I'm running a mixture of offense and health mods. That's just to help get him some more damage because, again, he has such low crit chance. It's better to get offense on him since he will get better returns from bonus offense than he will from the crit damage. So yeah, that's the overall look at the stats and the mods I'm using on him. So let's go ahead and take a look at the synergies for the character as well as the tactics and how you want to use him. So you don't necessarily need to use Gar Saxon on your full Empire team. It is nice because his leadership ability gives all Empire allies additional defense and a 50% counter chance. This adds in really well with Imperial Super Commando, whose unique gives him a base 65% crit chance as it is. So you can throw him under a Gar Saxon lead, he's always going to be countering, which means more assists for Gar Saxon. But also, you don't have to use him exclusively under an Empire team. You can also use him outside of the leadership spot, because his unique is not tied to his leadership. It's just it just gives the additional counter chance to your Empire characters. So anytime that anyone on your team counters, he can then assist. As you can see there, Chase is just countering and Gar Saxon's assisting, and it's not even Empire characters. So he's very, very synergistic with your counter characters in total. But yeah, if you're going to be using him as a leader, definitely look at using him under some using him with Empire characters, and say under someone, but definitely use him as a leader with Empire characters if you so desire. It's really fun to do. It's basically an I'm a Gundai for Empire. One of the fights in this video is going to be me going up against an I'm a Gundai led Jedi team with a Gar Saxon led Empire team, and it's just hilarious. It's just counters everywhere, just constant assists from Gar Saxon. It's just pure chaos fight. It's this fight right here. So yeah, it's a ton of fun to use these guys together. I would definitely recommend using him under a full Empire team, but for Arena, you can definitely use him with Chase and General Kenobi, because Kenobi can give counter chance to the entire team, and then he just keeps assisting. So like if someone uses an AoE and everyone counters, then you just watch Gar Saxon do 4 or 5 different attacks together. In terms of overall damage, you'll notice Gar Saxon's, I don't know why I call him Gar Saxon, I'm just going to call him Saxon. Gar sounds weird. So yeah, Saxon, he does some weak damage on his basic, as I'm sure you're noticing here. He's doing like 2,000, maybe 3,000 damage with it. So it's not much, but he definitely will stack up that damage when he does 4 assists in a single turn where everyone's just countering. So yeah, it's always nice to have, but his real damage will come from his special, which has the 5-turn cooldown, but can get reduced if he assists on someone who has speed down. So using him with someone like Fives who can counter, and if Fives is a double tap on a target with already slowed down, that means Gar Saxon can do even more damage. He can do a double assist there. Baze can also counter, put speed down. Royal Guard has speed down on his basic, and he's an Empire character, so it's even bigger bonus. So yeah, definitely use him with Empire and countering tunes, because if you get someone like Fives or Chase who can do just Baze, you only add Chase and just Baze. If Baze does that speed down, then anytime Saxon assists on that target with the speed down, reduces the cooldown of his major attack by 1, so he can get 4 assists in, and then he can basically get the special in, and it does pretty good damage, especially if it's against someone who's under 50% turn meter. Remember, it deals most damage to someone who has less than 50% turn meter, so you can get some really good damage in there with him. I've seen him crit over 10k on that thing, and yeah, if that really adds up. It's a really nice AoE for everyone there. So yeah, definitely use his special as much as possible, because even if it doesn't hit for that bonus damage, it reduces the turn meter of anyone who's over 50% turn meter. So it's a turn meter reduction and a really nice hit all in one. So it's a very nice tool to bring to the battlefield. But let's go ahead and stop and let's talk about just what does not work well with this team, or what just doesn't work well with Saxon in general, and talk about his weaknesses, and we will go from there. Now, in terms of overall weaknesses, I've already covered how his basic attack does not deal much damage, so there's that to take into account. His special ability requires him to get that speed down assist on targets to reduce the cooldowns. So if the target does not have speed down and he's assisting, he's kind of hurting himself there as well. But also, if you're facing someone who has tenacity up, you're never going to land that speed down, so you're going to have that problem. And then, of course, you can't ignore the counter without mentioning the elephant in the room that is Darth Maul and his Zeta, and the fact that Maul does that AoE daze, so you're going to have that issue with daze means people can't counter. So if people can't counter, Saxon can't assist. If Saxon can't assist, he can't do his special move that does a lot of damage. So that's always something to keep in mind. But also, you'll notice here, I'm fighting a Kylo Ren here, and usually I use Darth Nihilus in this team instead of Gar Saxon. But you'll note that if this had not been an AI-controlled Kylo Ren, he probably would have demolished this team without any issue, and that's why I use Nihilus, because he has that Annihilate and just makes things so much easier for my team. So yeah, without that Darth Nihilus in there, this team would be doing a whole lot worse. Saxon just doesn't bring something to the team that you already have in other characters. but I think with the introduction of R2 and the way his kit looks, you may see a reduction in Darth Maul teams, but you may still see a bunch of Kylo Rens as well. So we'll see how that all looks. As you can see, he just one-shot my Chirrut, so this is not going well at all right now. But yeah, with switching in Gar Saxon instead of Darth Nihilus, I dropped about 20 places overnight. Usually drop maybe 10 at most. So yeah, he does not exactly have a spot right now in the meta, but I think with the reduction you'll see in Darth Maul's, you may very well see him get something better. But he could also do something like, I don't know, with this Trooper rework that's coming up and the General Veers rework, it wouldn't be crazy to try and throw Troopers under a Gar Saxon lead. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind as well. But yeah, that's overall weaknesses. He's not very strong right now with the Darth Maul meta. His basic does not deal a lot of damage. He's very reliant on the speed down and the assist and the cooldown reduction to really do some damage. So yeah, we'll see how in the coming weeks with the change in the Darth Maul meta, just what happens exactly. But for now, I would definitely say that he's not exactly someone you want to use in Arena at the moment, just because of the Darth Maul and the days and the whole anti-counter meta going on. But yeah, now that we've covered his weaknesses, let's go ahead and take a look at his strengths, and let's see what he's really strong against. So now that we've covered his weaknesses, let's talk about what he does well. And his main thing he does well is his assist on counters. You can throw him in with his counter team like Kenobi and Chase, and he just does so well. His basic doesn't do well, of course, but his special does hit really hard, as you're seeing, and it has that AoE turn meter reduction as well. So yeah, he can do some nice damage on his special. But yeah, I am starting to notice that, especially on lower armor characters, his basic attack does counter and does in the range of a good 3,000 to 4,000 on crits. So he's got that. He's also got that high armor penetration at 97. He's one of the top characters in the game right now with armor penetration. That's been kind of skewed because Chirrut Imwe has 197 and just miles ahead of the next person who I think has like 120, 110, somewhere in that range. So yeah, without Chirrut in there, his armor penetration looks to be a lot higher than you would expect. So he's going to blast through about 8 to 9% of the character's armor. So he's going to get some damage in with those assists, especially if they stack up. So if you have characters who do 4 or 5 assists together, and then you have Gar Saxon in there, you're looking at a good 10 to 15k range of specials, or just basic attacks, and the counters in there. So that's nice to have. You see here I'm using a Count Dooku who can do that double assist, and that just means more assists for Saxon. Then you can do his AoE turn meter reduction. So yeah, he has some really good synergies with counters and Empire characters. So yeah, definitely use them together. I mean, you also have Death Trooper here that I'm using. If Death Trooper does his death mark and then someone attacks your team and they counter, that just means Saxon can do all those assists as well and do death mark damage and just take down that character in no time at all. So yeah, he's got the power to do multiple assists, and he's got the power to give you something different with the Empire team with this counter meta. So not so much counter meta, but just the countering that he can do here just does wonders. So yeah, you'll see here the death mark, and then you got the counters there, and look at that, counter from Short Trooper plus the assist from Saxon. 5 is gone in 2 hits. I mean, that is just phenomenal to have. So yeah, he definitely does great with counter teams. He definitely does great with Empire characters as well. That 40% defense cannot be overlooked, especially if you have someone like Short Trooper and Royal Guard in there. That's just that much tankier for those two guys. They can take more hits, and they will counter as well as they're going to attack, which means assist for Gar Saxon. So yeah, definitely do not sleep on Gar Saxon. He can definitely do some damage with his assist and his special ability that gets that constant cooldown from assist with the speed down. So yeah, overall, I would definitely say his strengths are pretty good. Without the Zol meta, he could definitely be a lot better. And yeah, as I said before, we will see what he will do once the Zol meta is taken away thanks to R2. But yeah, now that I've done that, let's go ahead and let's pull up a list of his friends and enemies, who you want to use him with, who you want to avoid using him against. So you'll see here on the friend side, I have every Empire tune and every tune that can counter thrown in. That's because those counters really help with calling in his assists, especially if you've got someone here who does speed down as well. I've also got them thrown in there as well. I have cleansers in there because they can cleanse and counter the dazes and the stuns, things that will help prevent your characters from countering. You'll see over on the enemy side, I have everyone that can stun, everyone that can daze. So you've got like Darth Maul, Count Dooku there. I've also got your cleansers like Chirrut, Rex, and General Kenobi, because they can cleanse that speed down, which means that Saxon will not get the cooldown increase or reductions on his assists against characters that have speed down, especially if someone has tenacity up. So you've got that. Zeb can do his daze and his stuns. So pretty much anyone who can stun, anyone who can cleanse, and anyone who can daze, anything to prevent counters and prevent the speed down debuffs, to prevent his cooldown reductions, those are all characters you want to avoid fighting against when using him. So yeah, now we've done that, let's go ahead and do our final score, and let's go ahead and finish up this review. So what do you want to do with Gar Saxon? You do want to use him with a counter-heavy team, especially those who can do speed down, so fives, Chase. You also want to use him with Empire characters because of that leadership where they can counter and then he can assist on that. So anything that can give speed down, anything that can counter, if you can get a full Empire team behind him, go ahead and do that. So he can definitely be used with those. So do use him with full Empire team, do use him with a counter heavy team. That's where he is strongest. And now we've looked at that, let's go ahead and look at what you don't want to do with him. Do not use him against a team that is heavily reliable on dazes or stuns. Do not use him against someone that can stun lock, because stun characters cannot counter. Also, do not use him against teams that are heavy with cleansers, because they can get rid of the speed down, which is so reliable, and Gar Saxon relies on so much to get his cooldown reductions. So do not use him against daze and stun teams, and do not use him against a team heavy with cleansers. Now, for my review score, I have it divided into 3 sections. You go for it, you hold off on gearing the character until later, or you just overall don't do it, just avoid the character. Now for Gar Saxon, he does have problems with the current Zol meta, but because R2-D2 is coming into the game within the next week, and because R2 is going to completely destroy the Zol meta, it looks like, I have a feeling the Zol meta is not going to last very much longer, which is why I will be giving a Gar Saxon score of go for it. Absolutely go for this guy. His counters with the Empire team, his synergies with other countering characters, he's just too good to pass up at this point, especially with the Zol meta coming to an end. Definitely start gearing him up, definitely start looking at getting him into teams, because he is just going to be such a fun character to use with these counters and with the Empire characters, and plus you're going to need Empire characters for the R2 event, and what better way to use than a Gar Saxon countering team to get that R2? That just seems like the best way to get him. It's going to be so much fun. So anyways guys, I hope you all have appreciated this review. Let me know what you guys think down below. I always welcome more opinions. Let me know what you all think. Let me know what else you guys want me to review in the future. But yeah, anyways guys, thanks for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share this video. Keep an eye out for more content in the future. And as always guys, I will talk to you all later.